boy, here we are again. I'll put my phone on Do Not Disturb. Got Jimmy on my couch over there. He's looking at me with his very, very disappointed face. Anyways, I got a little bit of a head start today because I do want to make sure that I finish this today. And I don't know, well, no, my mom's not home, so I'm probably free to keep doing as I do. Let's get a soundtrack going. Here we go. And let's keep going. Actually, I feel like this entire layer could be flipped. I think that'd be cool. No, I think I like this better actually. And then what we'll do is we'll have the highlights coming in from this, from each side matching, and then over here it'll be opposite. Yeah, I think that's what I'll do. Boy, I'm glad to be streaming today, and I hope that stream looks fine over there. It looks like everything is good. I'm still connected to the Spectrum one. My dad still wants to experiment with the T-Mobile one, so I might do a small test stream with that later, and if I don't like it, I'm gonna tell him, I don't like it, and I'm willing to pay the $91 a month for Spectrum. Because the T-Mobile one is just really, really bad. He's like, oh, I'm gonna move it to, like, a window or something, and we're gonna see, like, how that goes. And then his laptop keeps disconnecting, and I'm just like, well, you get what you pay for, Dad. I think this is, like, part of, like, the whole thing. Actually grabbed the color from there. I don't just want it to be a smooth gradient. I want, like, a tiny bit of a pattern in there. Where is my... Yeah, here we go. I can't see the shapes, unfortunately. I'm gonna have to get that a bit bigger. Which one's the circle? I always forget. Tilt. Do not give that any tilt, please. Oh, you know, this could actually be, like, really cool. I think something like... Shoot, something's not working here. It's been a... Why? See, I want the gradient to, like, follow this, and it goes outward like that. It's only gonna work if I do it like this. It just... okay, hang on. No. Oh, hi, Kira. Welcome. Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out this thing real quick. Because I barely use this tool, so I don't actually know how to use it, but, yeah, because that's not really gonna help if I tilt it around. Oh, horizontal. Yeah, that's what I want to do. And then don't invert the gradient. There we go. Something like that. And then, I would actually like it to be a bit smaller. Maybe that was a mistake. Oh, maybe I shouldn't have done that. Okay, you know, we'll make it a little bit bigger. We'll go like 20. It's just I want. Okay, let me try something. I want it to be like fairly solid, right? So we're gonna go like that with like a solid block of color. We're just gonna go back to this and then start right there. But then I think that means we do definitely need to go back to having it like a bit small, right? I don't actually know how to do this. It's okay, we live and we learn. So we're finishing this up today. This is just the second draw this in your style prize. I don't know why I keep trying that, like that's gonna change anything. Let's go to 30, see if that helps it. Okay, I think we just can't have that there. Well, regardless, I do like how that looks, so we'll keep it at that, and then on this side we'll do the same thing. We're gonna invert it so it goes like that, and then we'll wait for all of those to render in. I think that looks nice. I think that looks good. I was having a little bit of trouble figuring out what I was going to do for a background, because I know I want it to look like very like show-like or very stage-like, so, because, we had the guitar here. It's a very, like, show-offy kind of, like, composition, if that makes sense. So, I wanted to, like, lean into that a bit more. I know that, so... Well, I'll add more flourishes to the background as time goes on, but for now, I think we could just straight up move on to rendering. I've been good since the last time, which was Thursday. I'm hoping everything looks fine since last time. We were assuming last time that it was Twitch that was goofing off, and that's why, like, I think, what was it, players kept, like, freezing, or, that's why the players just kept, like, freezing and everything, or it was like you just kept having to reload the page. I hope that's not the case today. But yeah. It shouldn't be, because, again, there aren't a lot of devices connected to the Spectrum router yet, because I think my dad still, again, really wants to make the T-Mobile one work, because it is a huge difference in, like, how much we're paying. It's just, in my head, this really feels like a you get what you pay for situation. And in this case, I think the getting what you paid for situation is just the slower, shittier Wi-Fi. Because it's kind of... And I had to explain to him, like, sometimes you just can't trust the companies, because he was complaining, like, oh, well, it was fine when we installed it, and now all of a sudden, my laptop keeps disconnecting, Clive's laptop keeps disconnecting, or sometimes it's really slow. Like, how could they make it so that it deteriorates, over time? And I'm like, because that's their business model. It starts fine, then it gets bad, and you notice these things. And then you ask them, like, hey, how do I fix this? And they go, oh, well, we can do, like, a few things. You can get, like, a Wi-Fi extender. We'll give those to you for free. The Wi-Fi extenders don't seem to work, by the way, because I don't think it's a problem of the range of the Wi-Fi. I'm pretty sure it's just the router sucks. And then they say, like, oh, well, if it's really giving you that much trouble, you can upgrade to a different internet plan. And it's like, this is and you'll end up paying, like, the same amount that you were trying to avoid in the first place, because of course, to me, that's what makes the most sense here. I could be wrong. I could be very wrong. But again, I do just think this is just a case of, like, you get what you pay for, and they're just trying to lure you into paying, like, for more. I think that's what it is. but we'll see. Work hasn't been all too bad. It's actually been fairly slow on the weekends. Yesterday, well, I should say last week or so, I was part of the reason why I couldn't get any like proper work in progress stuff out yesterday was because I'd completely forgotten to work on my D&D one shot for the store, and so because of that, I had to spend a bit of the weekend like finishing the story, doing the sheets and stuff. And you know, I got through and I'm like decently like proud of it and like, okay, well, I think when I finally do have to like run this, I can like, you know, do as I usually do, lead the players, rein the players back in when they decide to derail things, do the whole improv stuff that comes with the dungeon master thing. And I think it's fine. I will say, I don't think it's my best executed one shot for like setting up a plot line. I'll say that. I am excited though because it is vampire stuff again. It was gonna be for Valentine's Day, but I kind of procrastinated, so here we are. I will say though, the next one that I have planned, because I already had like one, like a new one in mind. I like one time we were at Target. This is gonna be like the weirdest source of inspiration. And there's a board game called Wingspan. I've played it like once before, and it's a game like it's a board game like inspired by I feel you, yeah, procrastination. Oh my god, what a wonderful thing to what a wonderful thing to indulge in, really. Anyways, my favorite thing, so Wingspan is a board game based off of like bird watching and stuff, right? You have all these like part of the board game is like you have these cards, and these cards like have like little like bird pictures on them, and it tells you about the bird, like where they're from, maybe like migratory like stuff and stuff like that. I can't really remember. I only played it like one time. But basically, the same developers of that board game. I have to finish my next adventure as well, or properly started for that matter. God, that's such a huge mood. Yeah, I think Wingspan's like decently popular. The same creators of Wingspan created a fantasy version called Wormspan, but instead of birds, it's about dragons. And I'm like, I have the funniest D&D one-shot idea based off of that. And basically, instead of bird watching, it's gonna be dragon watching, basically. So I already started writing that one. I have a little like dragonborn tour guide character that the players are gonna be able to interact with. Let's see. Real quick, I'm just gonna check something. But yeah, like I have a little like dragonborn tour guide character that the character's gonna interact with, and the tough thing is that I balance everything to level 1 because I can't guarantee that everyone who comes into the store is gonna know right off the bat how to play everything, right? Even if they do know how to play, I guarantee there's plenty of people who have never played like past level 3, right? Because it's hard to keep a campaign going for that long sometimes. So I keep everything to level 1 to keep things like really simple and decently easy to balance. And I ran into a problem like sort of like planning the one shot in my head, because it's like it would be really fun to have like players like be on this tour and they're being like attacked by dragons, but they're also learning about like dragon ecology and everything. But the challenge rating of dragons is like 1,000,000. It's not actually 1,000,000. It's like I want to say like the adult dragon is around like CR 15. And on one hand it'd be funny, on the other hand it'd be really unfair if I just threw that towards my players. So what I decided to do was make the story about like illegal poaching. I thought that would be fun. It's a very like agreeable topic, I think. And what I mean by agreeable, I mean I think all of us generally agree that illegal poaching bad. So you know, if I do have like this one kid who like comes in like sort of regularly for the one shots. So you know, I do need to remind myself to keep things relatively PG, right? I feel like I could be a little bit looser on like the depictions of like violence and everything, just because like by the age of 10, I feel like every like kid has at least like experienced Call of Duty, and it's like, well, you guys already know like what's going on, so I'm not too worried about that. So yeah, as funny as it would be to include more terrorism stuff at the moment, I am trying to be just a little bit careful. And then, wait. I do think I should bring back the whole like terrorism stuff for Easter though. I thought it'd be really funny if there was like an Easter D&D one shot, but all of the hidden eggs are bombs. You know, I mean funny as in like this is a fantasy game where we're just pretending, like we're just playing pretend, that's all. I don't actually think terrorism is funny. I promise. But, yeah, so I have, like, a few things planned for D&D, which is really good, considering, I'm not great at writing. Or, no, let me rephrase that. I can be a fairly decent writer. The only issue is that in this, I can't write as consistently as I can draw. Let's put it that way. Like, I'm really good at drawing. Really good at just being able to turn out art, like, just whenever, right? And I don't frequently get art burnout. Writer's block, however, every single day I will, like, write 2 sentences and be like, I have no idea where to continue from here. And unfortunately, it does kind of carry into D&D a little bit. Because for as much of it that actually relies on, like, you know, players and interaction and stuff, it's still hard to figure out, like, what kind of thing I should do for the store. And what would actually, like, translate very well into a D&D one-shot. That's all it is, really. It's tough to figure out, like, hey, I want to make, like, an interesting, like, and sort of, like, unique scenario, but it's kind of hard to do that within the constraints of D&D, and having, like, a huge combat encounter at the end to top things off for a one-shot, because that's usually how they go. Or sometimes it could be 2 encounters. It could be as many as I like, but I usually just keep it to 1, because again, level 1 and everything. But yeah, I think finding hidden bombs for an Easter themed one shot would be cool. I'm really excited for the worm watching one because I get to make up a ton of like random like dragon facts and dragon ecology stuff, which I really enjoy. Apparently, I really like love when I can like get into like the whole like naturey bits of stuff. I'm telling you guys I'm a druid main without telling you guys I'm a druid main. I enjoy it a lot. Let me see if I can pull up some fun stuff. Because I wrote a lot down. Because, like, this one shot I'm, like, really excited about. I'm sorry the white screen is, like, illuminating my face in the most ghastly way possible. But yeah, let's see. Yeah, so it's like, there are scale-hide trees, and then I just say like, oh, they're like they're a tree known for having like really like sturdy and tough bark. Druids are known to make shields out of them. On a nearby rock, there's a pack of drakes just sort of lounging on the surface. If you're not aware of the distinction between drakes and other kinds of draconic creatures, drakes have 4 legs and no wings, to my knowledge. They're entirely terrestrial. I like the idea of them like sort of traveling in like packs, kind of like wolves. With like the leader of said pack having like a larger crest on its head. And then I have this last one, where there's a badger drinking water on a river, but in, like, it gets snatched by a worm, and worms are the ones that are, like, long, and I don't think they have wings either, but I like, here I have it so that they're both, like, aquatic and terrestrial, like, they can hold their breath for a long time. If you guys have seen, like, water snakes, it's kind of like that. It's kind of like that. Oh, on a side note, I just remembered we are at 69 followers. No one should ever follow me again. We're at the funny numbers, so this is great. But yeah, we had some offline follows. There was Miss Chonklas and Dropsy. Thank you so much for the follow. I'm not sure if you guys are here in the audience, but it is very appreciated to give a follow like that. Especially when I'm offline, like, that's kind of crazy. Oops. So yeah, I'm very excited for, like, the worm, for the worm watching one. That one's gonna be fun. Again, I don't think I'm gonna be throwing the dragons at my characters, just because, yeah, nice. It is a very funny follower count to be. I should make a post about it. But yeah, I'm super excited for it. Again, anytime I get to include like nature or any kind of like discussion about nature in like D&D, I get like really excited because it's like I can go all out with like world building or like just fun like plant facts and stuff. I love flower symbolism, for example. Lilac, my spore druid, her name is literally Lilac because I saw somewhere that lilacs were used to cover the stench of death, and I thought that was like too good of an opportunity not to miss. So that's literally like where she gets her name and inspiration from. And what I like about that was one time I was like doing actual proper research into lilac flower symbolism. Flowers of any kind come in like all shades of like colors, right? So lilacs aren't actually like lilacs aren't limited to the color purple. They can be pink. I think they could be white. I think they could be yellow. I don't remember what the website said. But very specifically, the light purple variants of lilacs represent like first love, which is so cute to me. And then it gets even better. Lilac is a drow with like a very deep, rich purple skin. And dark purple lilacs, those are the ones that are for like grief and mourning, and have like more deathly imagery associated with them. And I'm like, I looked out. I literally like not lucked out, but it's like it's just so well executed, I think, and it's just perfect in my head, and I'm excited. I had a cool idea for Lilac with the comic too. I was talking about it a little bit with Johnny yesterday because he was asking me like, were there any like very minor like characters that sort of became like a big deal and like a main character that I've made before. And I was thinking about it. There is a villain team, or an antagonist team, I should say, that the that the cast is going to like face up against at some point. And the leader of that team, I'm like so like torn about it because I really, really want to make him like into a main character of some kind and just have him like continue on through the next things. But he is 100% intended to die at the end of season 1, in my head, so can't do that. Two of the, however, in that antagonist team, there are a few members that are meant to become like sort of major characters later on, just in a different arc. So I'm also excited for that. And then this transitioned into a discussion about Lilac. Lilac, Lilac and Aerie are endgame in my head. Like 100%. There's no like getting around that for me. But I don't want it to be like right at the beginning, like, oh, they get together, because that's kind of ridiculous. And I don't want it to be like a very like typical romance plot where it's like a slow burning, you're gonna have to wait for like the whole series for them to get together. That's not exactly what I want. It is kind of actually just gonna play out like that just because of how I have it planned out. But I think I think it's just gonna be like a little bit more interesting. Anyways, I like the idea of Lilac at some point just really like disliking Aerie because of who Aerie's family is. I'm just kind of like dancing around like the details a little bit because I do want people to read the comic and I don't want to spoil the whole plot right here, right now. I just actually have to get to writing it and drafting it. But it's there. I know for the first... I know what I want to do for the first chapter is just introduce readers to the team. And by introduce readers to the team, I think I want to rename the chapter title to like Settling In, and it's just all the characters just settling into their dorms, and then just a little bit of like what the team looks like before like they get a new member, something like that. Something just very like casual and slice of life. I want it to be very not Steven Universe-esque in the way that it was like a lot of like filler, but just very like slice of life moments. Just like I want to sell the idea that this isn't that the world is very I want to sell the idea that the world is very I'm trying to find the words. Again, this is a world where adventuring is mass commercialized. So like even though adventures are happening every day, this is basically just, like, college assignments. So I want to give it, like, a very, like... I want to give adventuring, like, a very, like, initial and casual, like, feel to it. Like, oh, you do side quests, you get paid for the side quests, and part of that pay goes towards your guild tuition or something like that. Right? And the guild tuition covers the cost of yada yada yada. And again, it's supposed to be very similar-ish to like the college experience and everything. So I want it to come across as something like that. And right before I hit everyone with plot, because Steven Universe, if you've never seen it, season 1 was full of a lot of just like it was a very like silly cartoon where you could tell that there was background lore and everything. But the main focus of it wasn't the lore initially. It was the characters, it was, like, the daily routines of stuff, and just kind of, like very small and wacky adventures. And that's how I want my comic to start off. And not to say that those chapters aren't going to be important. But, you know, people want to skip like the early stuff, that's also fine by me, because I would get it. Because the whole point of all of that filler is to build up to a point where the team is actually looking to get into a bigger adventure. That's what the whole build up is for. I don't know how much I'm gonna realistically linger on that, but yeah. Oh, hey, Butch! Hello. Yeah, you know this. You know these characters. It's almost like you made them. Oh, Butters is barking downstairs. Jumi's still asleep on my couch. Yeah. Working on this today. I'm hoping I get to finish it. I'm trying to, like... I'm not trying to rush it, but I'm definitely trying to, like, go a little fast. Just to, like, also make sure I get back to, like, doing, some other projects. I still have yet to make another class dice sticker, and, I should really get on that, because, it's gonna be March really soon. They're so nice. It's nice seeing them get along. Oh my god, I wish I knew. I wish I knew that they had like the sibling bickering thing going on, because I would've done something else then. Oops. I'll draw in, or I'll paint in the magic here. Like after getting all the shadows in. I just assumed they got relatively along. I don't know, I get along with my brothers, like, very well, so I wasn't, so I didn't know Lamau. And if I had to imagine, it's probably, like, Umbrella Academy levels of, like, bickering, where it's like, yeah, they still love each other, but they're still also, like, vehemently, like making the snarkiest comebacks back and forth, back and forth. If I had to guess, that's probably what it is. The relationship isn't bad nowadays. They're just rotten towards each other as kids. Ah, I see. That makes more sense. Oh, and hello, 4 viewers. Welcome! We're drawing Butch's characters because he did a wonderful submission for the Draw This in Your Style contest. So we're gonna be attempting to finish that up during stream. And if I don't finish it during stream, oops. I lollygagged too much. But yeah, I've been yapping about D&D. I've been yapping about stuff. I wouldn't say there's anything too important missed. I wouldn't say there's anything, like, too important at all that goes on during streams. I feel so bad when people tell me, like, oh, sorry, I can't make it today, and I'm like, you don't gotta worry about it. My streams are just me yapping about art. It's also very, like, warm. Actually, I'm gonna take off my jacket. It's weird, right? It's spring. It's about to be March, right? It's gonna be March in... Hang on, I can't do math. We're just gonna have to look at a calendar. 4 days. It's gonna be March in, like, 4 days. And the house is so cold, but then it gets, like, so warm outside, and I'm so confused as to how I should be dressing. But it's fine. It is... I'm just sad that spring is already here. I feel like winter didn't last super long. There was snow on the mountains when we got that little bit of rain, but it's like, it's too warm. The snow did not last long enough for us to, like, figure out, like, a day off where we could go up there. And it's just unfortunate. I love fall. A little... Winter less so, but I still enjoy winter. We just didn't get our rainy season. It didn't get, like, as cold as I think I would have liked it to be. And now it just feels like spring is coming in, like, super fast. It's super warm outside already, again. And, it just makes me terrified of summer. Because, again, we don't have, like... Our AC downstairs is the only AC that works. So it's just gonna be like hell upstairs at night, and I'm just like, I don't want to do it again. I can't do this. It's been broken. Our AC upstairs has been broken since 2019. We have been 6 years without it, and I'm just like, can we finally get it fixed this year? Like, please, I will pay for it. I will give my entire bank account if it means we can just have a normal, like, AC upstairs. Because I have the AC unit, right? I have that. I don't like that thing for a number of reasons. It's way too loud. It takes up not necessarily a lot of space in my room, but with the location it has to be in, it's like I could use that space for something else, but I have to use it for that. And then, like, it's so annoying to set up. I don't want to have to use it again. I would rather just, like, can we please just have the thing? Because I can't sleep with it. Like, I've tried, and it just doesn't happen. It's the same thing with, like, fans in my room. I can't have a fan, like, on for a long time. It just doesn't work out. But usually what I'll do is I'll have it running for a few hours, and then as soon as I decide to turn it off, I go right to sleep, because, if I don't, the room gets hot really fast. Or it will get hot really fast, and if I'm not asleep by then, I'm just gonna be suffering. I hate Southern California so much sometimes. Or I guess specifically this place. Like I said, we live in a valley, and because it's a valley, the heat, instead of rising like it would literally anywhere else, it likes to sit there and stew. And it sucks, because in the day, it'll sit there, and you're downstairs because it's too hot to be upstairs still. But the seat is just still sitting downstairs, and you're just like, where do I even go then? And then by the time it reaches night, that's when the heat has risen a little bit. So now it's sitting upstairs, and you're just like, get me out of here. And that is specifically why I hate summer. I would love to be a summer girly. But after the 6 years of torment I have had, with summer here in this city, I can't. It makes me so unbelievably upset, and I need to put my hair back. I need to get a haircut too, actually. I should do that before it starts getting, like, really warm. My bangs are just a little bit too long. My hair is also just obscenely long, but if I cut my bangs, my hair's, it just won't, the proportion won't look right. So I gotta get them both trimmed. I would make the drive to, like, Great Clips or something, like, over here, because it's not that far, and it wouldn't be, like, too much of an inconvenience to get a haircut. My issue is that I really, every time we go to Great Clips, or like, one of the Fantastic Sam's, or one of, like, the mainstream, hair salons or whatever, I'll tell them, like, hey, can you just, like, trim my bangs and everything? Like, I'm not looking for anything fancy, or, like, the only thing really is that I want my bangs to be sort of, like, tear-shaped, if that makes sense. And they're like, yeah, we can do that. And then the one time I asked them to do that, they gave me curtain bangs instead, and I was just like, I don't want this. I was so upset. And it's not that I have anything against curtain bangs, it's just I don't think it's, like, for me. I don't trust it. So we go to this place, I think it's run by a little Vietnamese couple that always has, like, these sort of, like, evangelist, I think, sermons going on. And we go there, and the lady there always knows what to do with my hair. She never messes it up that badly, and I'm like, thank you. But because I think Johnny and Clive also want haircuts, I just don't go there by myself, because, it'd be a lot better if all three of us went at the same time, so. But it's tough to coordinate that. Johnny has school 4 days a week. I'm doing whatever it is I'm doing right now, and Clive doesn't wake up until 5 p.m., so. We haven't been able to, like, do that, but I hope we get to soon. Yes, I'm still watching. Maybe I should open this in, like, a different tab. Like, put this over here. So the music stops getting interrupted. I think that's what I should do. I think that would be smart. Yeah. I need to find a way to give this, like, better, like, like, stage lighting, you know? I think I'm gonna put, like, I'm definitely gonna put, like, clouds, so it's like stuff is coming out of a fog machine. What's a concert if you don't have a fog machine going off, right? I definitely need a spotlight somewhere, but again, I'm gonna finish rendering all of this, all of the shadows first before I do that. Because, the spotlights are definitely gonna be colored, and that's gonna not mess with my ability to, like, see what color I need to lay down, but it's going to be silly. Oops. I was telling my coworker yesterday, so I bought a brush set that I saw on Instagram. It's for, like, map making and everything, right? And, sometimes it sucks using the art software that not a lot of other people, like, frequently use, because then you'll get these brush packs that, like, instead of, like, automatically being added to your brush library, you have to do it, like, individually. And I started that on my laptop, but I haven't, like, done it since. And I have to do it like one by one. I have to click, drag, and everything. Just out of curiosity, why do I like tieflings so much? Let me think. I think at the end of the day, they're just, like, what makes they really sell the whole fantasy vibe. I think they add, like, a huge, like, vibrancy to fantasy settings. Like, I don't know about you, but I'm very picky with it, which is why I don't actually watch a lot of fantasy media. Like I have a very specific kind of fantasy that I'm looking for. I don't find it amusing when a show will say, "Oh, we take place in a fantasy world," and then the only races they have are elves and humans. I think that's very bland. I think that's very boring. I think when you include characters like tieflings, and I love tieflings, but I really love a lot of the other, like, races more, like owlins, satyrs, and other stuff like that, right? When you really start to, like, get more creative with the kinds of people that inhabit your world, I think it's a lot cooler. I think just having, like, elves and humans is incredibly boring, because it's like, you have a human, and then you have a human with pointy ears. Wow. We have that in real life, too. Every time I walk out with my elf ear cuffs, that's basically all it is. Tieflings just, again, are one of the things that, like, help add a little bit more to, like, the world around you. And, like, so do halflings, so do gnomes and dwarves. But I think with just how, like, not inhuman, because they don't look inhuman, but how, just how far you can push, like, tiefling designs. So important to add cat people as well. Big agree. You are doing something wrong if you don't add cat people to your fantasy world. And dog people, too. Just general lycanthropy. I strongly appreciate furry representation anytime it pops up. But tieflings, again, they just, like, they scratch that itch in my brain that, like, demands, like, it's like a really good in between, like, the really exotic races and, like, the very, like, humanoid ones, I think. And then on top of that, they're so flexible for character design, right? Because they get all kinds of, like, extra stuff. They get horns, they get tails, they get fangs, they get different eyes. Like, it's actually, like, kind of crazy. Their skin tone literally covers the entire rainbow, the whole spectrum of colors. Their horns can be so many different shapes and sizes, and again, it's great for world building because there's so much that you can build off of there. Maybe tieflings move their tail in certain ways, like the same way that we might have hand gestures, they have tail gestures, or tail sign language. or my personal favorite, tiefling horns grow continuously throughout their life, and if you've ever seen a moose shed its velvet, it's kind of like that, where it's like really bloody, and you kind of like gotta like take off like the dead outer layers, and like just it's cool. It's like there's so much that you can do with them, which I really, really love. And like maybe you can argue like the same thing for like humans or something, or you could say like you can make elves a little like freaky too, but it's like it just doesn't it just doesn't feel the same as tieflings. It's like there's so much creative like ways to do it. And then like again, I had the crystal tiefling where again some tieflings maybe they intentionally saw their horns down to the base so they can attach different uh like different kinds of horn prosthetics on them, like like again the crystal horns, which I think is really cool. I don't like it's just a part of fantasy that I think gets so underused sometimes, because it's like everyone wants to focus on like these other like parts of like fantasy races and everything, and that's fine. Like if elves are your thing and you don't really want to go too much further than that, that's fine. But to me, again, I think it's like very, very boring. And I love what they did in like Baldur's Gate too. Uh, like they modeled it so that tiefling bones had these really, really like sharp points that sort of not jut fully out of the skin, but they kind of like poke against the skin. I thought that was cool. I thought it was like, oh yeah, that's like a little bit more monstrous. That's like very, I think that's a very unique take on tieflings. My one thing with that, I know it's a fantasy world. Like you could just throw everything to the wind and say that like whatever, it works. I think having bones like that would cause a great amount of discomfort. If you've ever heard of gout, the tiefling bones in Baldur's Gate 3 kind of look like gout, but on steroids. But still, I think it's a really cool touch, and I think it just helps like differentiate tieflings a little bit more from everything else. And of course, I still love like the other races in D&D when you can get like really creative with them. Tabaxi, for example. I'm designing that snow leopard tabaxi that I had on a character sheet once. Snow leopards feel criminally underused. I think they're really, really pretty creatures. I love that they have like the really like thick paws and the thick tail because they live out in the snow. And it's like you could get like so creative with tabaxi too. Like yeah, you have like the mechanics in game that you need to like adhere to, but that still doesn't mean like you can't have like a big, fluffy, bulky, or not bulky, muscly snow leopard character. Like yeah, cat's grace or leaf nimbleness or whatever, but it's like we could like fudge the numbers just a little bit. Like I just really like it when character design can just be pushed to its absolute like max in character concepts and world building. It's one thing to design a character, it's another thing to world build. It is a whole other thing to combine the two, to combine your world building and your character design, which I think is great. So yeah, that's my whole ramble. Also, real quick, I love the vampires versus werewolves debate, because, in my opinion, tieflings are like the perfect cross between them. They get fangs, they get a tail, and they get the bonus of like having horns to like grab onto. So, that is my whole answer. I also like pretending that tieflings are like vaguely like Filipino. Um, one thing about being Filipino is just like a really, really strong sense of community. Um, it's like, how do I say this? We enjoy finding ourselves, if that makes sense. It's always really cool meeting another Filipino. Sometimes, well, okay, not always. I guess sometimes, really. But sometimes it's just really cool because you'll meet them and it's like, oh yeah, where are your parents from? Do you speak the language still? And it's like it's like it really feels like an automatic like kinship, and I feel like between tieflings, there would be a lot of that just because of how they're generally treated in lore. Um, but I guess that could be said for like a lot of like different kinds of things. I just really, really like the idea of them being Filipino in my head. I'm weird. Now, if there's anything that I think is really criminally underused about tieflings, actually, it's the infernal language. On one hand, yes, Latin. On the other hand, have you considered every single circle of hell having its own dialect of infernal? I think that would be like really, really cool, actually. Just like some words are the same in one dialect, but like mean different things in another, in the other. It again, just a really fun like idea, just right there, right for the taking, and I feel like nobody takes it. Like, tieflings, again in my head, infernal absolutely has about 9 or 10 dialects that different circles of hell speak, and depending on which circle of hell you're descended from, that's the one you probably learned. I think I think it's just super cool. I know if you want to go based off of like um, the D&D text, I guess my little like persona, my little character for myself, and accents. Yeah, that's a huge one too. I love the idea of like maybe I think I want to say the Mephistopheles tieflings are the ones that belong in the third circle of hell. That one to me, I think, just because we hear it in Baldur's Gate 3, we hear it being spoken. I think it's safe to say that the third circle of hell, that dialect of infernal would be Latin. But like there's another line that another tiefling character says where she calls your character an ignot or something very similar to that. I'm pretty sure it's supposed to mean idiot or something along those lines. Like it's an insult. And you get a unique like dialogue option if you do play as a tiefling, like excuse me, I know what that means, or something like that. Um, I have no idea if ignot is like an actual like Latin word. Oh my god, Luigi has striped socks, I just realized. I have the Partners in Time soundtrack going on, so they have the DS cover art, and Luigi has red and white striped socks under his overalls. That is wonderful. Uh, uh, I don't know if, okay, right, I don't know if ignot is actual, like, Latin, but that is an instance of, um, that is, what once again, an instance of infernal being used, and maybe it's not, like, directly, like, Latin that we're taking from. Mario and Luigi games are based, right? I love the Mario and Luigi games. My favorite, and this isn't, like, a spectacularly, like, hot take or anything, but I love Bowser's Inside Story. It's undoubtedly the best one in the franchise, in my opinion. Partners in Time was really, really fun, but also really hard from what I remember. I don't know if it was just that we were bad at the game before, but Partners in Time was brutal. But yeah, no, Bowser's Inside Story is my favorite one. Yoko Shimomura is a wonderful composer. I think she also composes for Kingdom Hearts. But she composed for Bowser's Inside Story, and it is such a fun and bouncy soundtrack. Like like everything See, this is what I love about Nintendo's composers. And I guess for a lot of Japanese games in general, their soundtracks are so memorable. Like they really like linger in your head, and it's like I feel like they're absolutely like identifiable. I feel like for a lot of Western games, that's not the case. Like, what was it? Baldur's Gate 3, phenomenal soundtrack, but I think Cazador absolutely should have had his own boss theme. And whenever, because whenever I played, it sounded like a very, like, generic, like, track that was playing for, like, Cazador's boss music, and I'm just like, I feel like we should have had something a little bit more here, but whatever you say. It's just, it's such a powerful moment, and I think a lot of, like, I think a lot of the Japanese composers, especially for Nintendo, recognize, like, oh, yeah, this is kind of a big thing, we should probably have, something a little, that carries a little bit more weight. So, that's my whole thing. Partners in Time was my first, so it has a special place in my heart, but yeah, Bowser's Inside Story is the GOAT. It really is the GOAT. I think Bowser's Inside Story has one of the best final boss tracks, I think, ever. I still remember struggling so much against the final boss when we were little. Because if you don't know, Bowser's Inside Story, the final boss there, you don't just beat the boss by bringing it to 0 HP. You have to steal, essentially what is a dark energy core from within the final boss, and then destroy that. And even then, you have a limited number of turns to do that before it decides to return to the final boss. And it is brutal. It is brutal if you cannot mash that button fast enough. It's also, like, just really, like, tough if you don't know how to do the attacks in general. Oh, you know, speaking of Nintendo games, for my emulator, one of the big reasons why I have the DS emulator in the first place is because I wanted to play, Pokemon Explorers of Sky, and, on that emulator, I had a save right at the start of, like, Temporal Tower, so if I ever wanted to play through, like, endgame stuff again, I could. And yesterday I thought, oh yeah, it'd be fun to, like, play, like, through the endgame thing, right? I've been, like, very nostalgic about what's it called? About Explorers of Sky for a while. I gotta go back to work, but it was great catching another stream. Oh, thank you so much. I hope you have a good day at work. Good luck. So I tried to open the file, and apparently I had a third one. A third extra save. That one was for a different thing. And I accidentally overwrote the endgame one. Not the epilogue one, thankfully, because that's the one where it's gonna have, like, everything. But I accidentally rewrote the one where I could, like, rematch, like, the final boss and, like, look through the final cutscene again. And I was just so upset, because it was like, well, there goes all of that. On the bright side, though, this just means we have another excuse to play, what's it called? To play Mystery Dungeon on stream. Like, for real. Because I keep talking about it, and it's like, at this point, I really should. I think I absolutely want to finish Hollow Knight first before I go on that endeavor, because I have yet to actually finish it. Well, no. We finished Borderlands on stream. But I haven't finished Hollow Knight. Stardew's gonna be a really long one, I think. At the very least. Speaking of Stardew, we should be doing that again on Thursday, and the exciting thing is that, based off where we left off last time in Stardew, we actually get to ask out Elliot, we get to romance him, and I'm excited, to have that going on. Like, I can't wait. I think it's gonna be a very, very cute and silly, like, day for stream. All right, we're getting through this. It's 12:30 right now. It's very warm in my room. I think I should tie up my hair. I don't look that good with my hair tied up though. I should tie up my hair. I should just get it cut at this point. Because it's going like, if I just stand up straight, it goes like right around my lower back. Like it's really starting to reach there. It's like, I like how long it is, but I also don't like how long it is. Yeah, maybe after stream I'll see if that place is open and get a haircut there. I think they only take cash, so I'm gonna have to go to the bank first. Man. Let's see. Work's been alright. I was at the game store yesterday, like I said, earlier. It was, the game store is nice, just because it's, like, it's really casual, it's really, like, low, not low effort, but, like, low stakes, so to say. People come in to play games, people, ask about some other things, they ask to see what cards we have, but it's like one of those workplaces where you can like bring a friend and not have it be too much trouble. And in this case, my coworker brought his 4-year-old daughter. Oh boy. I'm not super good with kids, in my opinion. Like I find it very hard to like entertain them or interact with them because it's like I don't know what I should be like doing right now, right? And this girl, this 4-year-old girl, she is like doing all kinds of stuff, and she's like, "You gotta order something at my restaurant." I'm like, "Okay, could I get a bowl of strawberries?" And she's like, "What about a drink?" And I'm like, "Oh, I don't need a drink, because I have my matcha right here." And she's like, "No, you gotta order a pretend drink." And I'm like, "Oh, okay, I'm gonna get a hot chocolate." She was a lot nicer to me than she was her dad. It was kind of funny. Because according to him, she ended up charging him like $1 million, which was just hilarious to hear. And she's like, it's so funny. It's like how like matter of fact like kids are. Because you never remember that they are like that until you exist around them, and it's crazy. So, like, she's asking us, like, "Oh, why are the chairs all torn up?" And I'm like, "Oh, that's just what happens when things get, like, really old or really, like, used up, right? But if you take really good care of them, you can make sure that they don't get torn like this." And she goes, like, "Oh, our chairs at home aren't like this. They're very, like, clean, right? Or, like, they're very, like, well, like, taken care of. Except for Dad's chair." And it's just like, damn. She's calling you out on this one. Overall, not too bad, though. My big thing with kids is just usually, like, a lot of parents don't teach their kids manners these days, and that's my issue with it. See, I think I'm actually gonna like do a little bit of like shading like out here on the horn. Just a little bit, because it's like I might as well match that curve on the bangles, or the horn bangles. See, this is just another reason why like tieflings are so cool. They have like extra things that they can put jewelry on. Who doesn't love wearing silly jewelry? Alright. And then, what do I want to render here? We'll do this. I was thinking maybe I should actually recolor these to look more like metal, but I'm not too sure about that. Maybe they are just like sort of like, no, I think it would make sense if they were kind of metal. Yeah, we'll go with that theory. I've been wanting to go back to like Cal Poly's campus as of late. I may have complained about like my college before, like in the past, just like really like I hate this place, but it's really more of like I hated like the teaching there for a lot of my classes, but I love the campus. It's very like rural and super pretty. Johnny says that he wants to go bird watching them. Like I'm pretty sure we have an aviary there. We have something with a bunch of animals in it. I just have never been there before. I would absolutely go up to like the sort of like naturey area up there, but I never actually went inside any of like the things. It's, again, super beautiful campus. Like I'm glad I went there. I think and I don't think Johnny's actually seen like a lot of the campus like just by itself or on its own, and I'm like, we should go there because it looks good there. I'm using the wrong brush. I just realized it's okay. I was like, that's why the color's laying on so weird. Anyways. Oh yeah, and then I went on that little hike on Sunday. Okay, so there's a river that runs through the city, and around the river there's sort of like this sort of foresty marsh swamp kind of area, and very, very nice to like walk around in. But the last time I was there, the thing is that there was a spot specifically where man, the time is flying today. It's 12:37. Specifically, there was a spot where you could get really, really close to the river, and the last time I saw that, I saw like birds on the water, and I thought that was super cool. I couldn't get like super close because the water is like super dirty, and I don't really want to like step inside of it. But again, just really, really cool to see. So, I was gonna go there with Johnny, but I think my parents wanted to go after Johnny got off of work, so I was like, okay, well, I'll just go there and scout out the area. So next time me and Johnny get a chance, we're gonna go over there and we're gonna go see if we can look at some water birds. Unfortunately, since the last time I've been there, there's just been like a huge growth of like plants that are blocking the way. And they're not particularly big plants. Like, I feel like I could push them aside relatively easily. My thing is that we are still in Snake County, which is why I never, like, venture that deep into, like, the forest here. It's because, it's not because it's, like, it's not because, like, how should I put this? It's, like, I'm inexperienced and, like, don't know how to, like, walk into the woods or anything. You know, it's, like, vaguely true. It's the fact that, like, the plants on the ground are so thick, I'm a little worried I might step on a snake. Which is a very, like, real thing. Like, we have rattlesnakes here, I think. And it would not be good. I might get... And also, too, just, like, sometimes it really does just get, like, super thick, and it's just hard to, like, get through it. I'm curious. Part of me, it's like, maybe I should bring a machete, because I do technically have a machete. I do have some, like, pretty large knives that I could probably cut through things with, but I don't want to cut through things, if that makes sense. Like, if I could leave nature untouched, for the most part, I will leave the nature untouched. I don't like the idea of, like, cutting things down to make way, because it's like, well, why do I get to decide that in the face of, like, Mother Nature, you know? Like, I think it's perfectly fine if things are, like, blocked off, and I'll just wait for things to, like, lighten up. However, it was not all for, like, nothing, though. The last time I went there, which was Sunday, Um, I went to this little pond, and within the pond, I meant to post it. I forgot to post it. There were these little tadpoles, which was really cool. You could just see them like darting around in the water and everything. Or to me, they looked like tadpoles. I assumed that they were tadpoles because the last time too I saw a frog. And I thought that was like super cool to like watch them. I didn't see any frogs this time. It's a bit warm. I am glad though that I didn't get bit by any mosquitoes. That to me is like very fortunate. I don't get too many mosquito bites now, actually. What's it called? I used to, I think, when I was like a lot younger, but I think that was mostly because like when our dogs were outside dogs, we would just like open the screen door and like play with them through there. But you know, since they've been inside, we don't have to open the screen door, and thus less mosquitoes are getting inside the house, and I hope it stays that way. It is the most annoying thing when a mosquito like gets into the house because they're so they love to like buzz right next to your ear, but because they're like such a slender shape, they're so hard to see and keep track of. So it's just a huge annoyance, and then as soon as there's a mosquito in the room, it's like, okay, everyone get out of the room, we're gonna close the door, the mosquito's gonna stay in there, and then we'll see what happens. And then I hate mosquitoes so much. But you know what's funny about mosquitoes, though? I think they're like the one animal, like in an entire ecosystem, where we could just take it off the census and like the rest of the ecosystem would be fine. Like, I think I remember hearing that, and I'm just like, that's... Imagine your entire existence is to be a nuisance to everyone, and everyone wants to get rid of you because your existence would literally cause no detriment to the rest of the world. Or something like that. It's... Like, that's mosquitoes. That is mosquitoes. And I hate them. They're like the one thing. It's just like, I wish you didn't exist. Just like that, actually. I think that wouldn't actually be too shadowed. And then let's bring this up. I think we're getting through this decently fast. Oops. That's good. Alright, and then the collar. Erase that bit. Well, I guess it was the same color. I didn't need to do that. Then we'll actually do the buckle too. The way I do this is like, if the colors aren't touching when I'm rendering them, it's usually safe for me to like render because it's like, oh, well, I have no chance of accidentally spilling over and making a mistake I'm going to regret. Johnny thinks I'm weird for merging all the rendering layers together into one thing, and I'm like, it's just more organized, and it probably makes the art program suffer a little bit less. I think you guys have seen it on stream, right? Like when Medibang no longer wants to like make smooth brush strokes and it starts getting a little bit choppy. I hate when it does that, but there's no way for me to get around that. But merging the layers into one does, I think, help it just a little bit. Okay, so... I think I'll do this part, actually. It looks metallic to me, so we're going to use this again. Make that a bit darker. Again, really dark shadows make for easier highlights. I should really play the latest like Mario and Luigi game. I feel like there's a lot of games that I want to play and I just have not a lot of time for them. And you'd think stream time would be that, but it's like I use stream for like art yaps too. So that's the other thing. Let's see. Yeah, I think at this point we'll save and we'll merge and then we'll start a new layer. I don't think I'm gonna put shadows on the hair just because the hair is super dark already. And the background is super dark. It'll just get it'll just get muddied, so I'm just gonna skip to the clothes. Alright, here we go. Butter is barking again. Oh, Butters. Sometimes I wonder what he's barking at. Jimmy's so, like, passed out there on my couch. He has not moved one bit. I'd put him on camera, but, like, I don't think he likes sitting on my lap when I'm at my desk. He likes sitting on my lap if I'm, like, lying down on the couch or something. Oh my god, Butters is going crazy. Butters is so funny. I posted today that he fell on me. Because here's the thing, he likes to, he does like to roll over, right? And he does like to get his tummy tickled. But the thing with that is that sometimes he's weirdly impatient about it. So rather than take the time to, like, lie down and then roll over, he would rather just flop over, just be like, just like that. And he fell on my foot today. He fell over on my foot. And it was really funny, because it was like, okay, well, not really funny, but it was like a little painful, because he's, you know, he's 40 pounds of dog. Oh, you know what? That might be my Amazon package. So, you know, when I do my inking, I do it on like a on paper, so it's very traditional. The thing with that is that, like, when light comes from the top, my shadow covers the thing. And while yes, I can still see, like, what I'm doing, the difference in lighting just kind of makes it hard for me to focus. So what I ordered was a little, like, clip-on light. It's like one of those little book lamps for nighttime reading. Unfortunately, I'm going to be using it for anything but you know what? It works out. So that might be it. It said it was arriving today. I hope that works out because, again, light's only good when my shadow doesn't accidentally obscure everything that I'm trying to do. We were trying to look for one in Michael's yesterday because Johnny needed to buy art supplies. We couldn't find anything. Oh, and actually got a huge drawer at the bottom of my desk to organize things. Let me choose a different soundtrack first. Man, I really wish I could play copyrighted music on stream. We'll do the Pokemon Black and White soundtrack, why not? Alright, let's do Black 2 and White 2. Mostly similar, but still really nice. But anyways, I got a drawer down here. And I can organize all of my ink now. Yesterday when I was at Michael's, I bought this red and violet India ink. I don't entirely know what exactly I'm going to use it for. Obviously inking, but, you know, I want to make, like, an interesting sort of piece with it. Just something fun. I did want to put my sketch pad in here, but it's way too big. But it still helps. And then the drawer also came with, like, a little, like, pencil one. So that's where I've been keeping my, dip pen and my, other stuff. Then finally, I got, hang on, it's under my iPad. Let me put this down here for now. Finally, I got a journal. I don't usually keep journals because I never actually know what to write in them. And this one is no exception. The D&D journal that I keep all my backlog ideas for still has basically infinite pages that will probably carry me for the rest of my life. But this one, I wasn't sure what to write, so I put at the top here, Kyra's umpteenth attempt to learn Bisaya. So I'm hoping this will be the journal where I actually commit to learning this. I haven't started it yet, beyond that first sentence at the top, but I'm still hopeful. Oops. I got it because it has like a nice plant design on it, and I was just like, ah, man, it would be good if I got that. I like writing down my ideas for art. It's very useful in the fact that it's like, oh, I have a thing here that I'm going to do, or that I said I was going to do. Maybe I should go do it. The one thing about it is that sometimes I do write the ideas down, and even when I do, it's like I still won't have like the image in my head about it. So that's why there's still like a ton of stuff that's like not checked off still, even though they're like really old and I should have like finished it a while ago in theory. Because all it is really is just like, well, yeah, I want to do this, but I don't know how I want to do this yet, so that's sort of what happened there. It's doing that choppy thing again, so I have to zoom out a little bit. That's usually how I like get it to like stop being funky, but it's still like, it's not the best thing because now I can't get like super like fine with it. Do you see what hang on. Do you see what I mean by like choppy? Like if I zoom in. Do you see like how there's like those... It's weird, it's weird. Anyways, that's why you end up seeing me use like the really big brushes, because they won't do that, especially if I zoom away far enough, because all it is really is just like the closer you zoom in, the more detail the program has to render, and the program doesn't like that. So what you do is you just zoom out, and even though you can't get things as super fine as you'd like them to, it works out. It's just a thing that I've gotten used to at this point, because there's basically just no getting around it otherwise. I used to think like, oh, it's because my art got super big, and it's like, no, it's because my art got even more detailed and more crazy. That's a good thing, though. I think it's a good thing when your art starts to crash your program a little bit. Like, I think it's a very, like, fun thing to, like, realize you've gotten, like, so far into your art that it's just kind of, like, blowing up your computer. Oops. Oops. I remember I played Pokemon Black and White too. I should have named my character something different from what I named the character in the first one. Because I just used my name, but it got really confusing to figure out, like when one character was talking about a different character, just because of how the storylines work out in that one. So that was kind of funny. Here we go. Maybe I'll play Black and White on stream. I want to play a lot of games on stream. It's just there's not a lot of days where I can stream is the one thing. Maybe I'll add another day to the schedule. I think that might not be a bad idea. We'll cover like 3 time zones, so like Tuesday streams are like the ones where maybe more European people can show, because it's just a little bedtime stream for you guys, I guess. Oh, shoot! I mean, since you brought it up... that's the first time someone's redeemed it. Okay. So, one of the first things... one of the things about looking Filipino, in Philippines is that people might assume that you know how to speak Filipino. But, hilariously enough, that is not the case. The big reason why I looked up how to say this phrase is because I didn't want people taking me in for, like, surveys or, like, other things on college campus. So the phrase is di maayo kung, and you would insert a language there. For me, I frequently like to put English there, because it's a great way to deter people from talking to you. so, so I would say, oh, di maayo kung Ingles, sorry, right? And that basically translates to, my English is not good. And here's the crazy thing about that. I'm gonna open a new canvas, right? Not that. Well, let's look at it like this. I'm gonna get the Sumi pen out because I think it looks better when I write things down. So let's break down the sentence. Di. That could be written nicer. Di maayo. When it's Bisaya, when it's Filipino, you pronounce both A's. I know some people aren't familiar with seeing like people are more used to seeing like two O's next to each other than two A's, but this is Filipino. Kong, well, we'll do the full word actually. Akong, and then you're gonna put we're gonna put Ingles here. But you can substitute that with like any language you want. You would think that this translates really well into my English is not good, right? You would think that this is like one for one, right? Like my this, that, like something like that, right? It's not actually. So in English it's like this is your subject, this is your verb, and that's not really an object, but the sentence structure is reversed in Filipino basically. So di is like no or not, right? Not in this case. Or not. Maayo is good. Akong is my, and Ingles is English. Ingles is English. So when you directly translate it is not good my English, but because it's reversed, the way it works is this is just how you say it. This is just how you say it. I have no idea why it's like that. It's just like that. But yeah, di maayo akong Ingles, or di maayo kong Ingles. You can shorten this to like, you can shorten this with like an apostrophe. That's like something that happens a lot. Because akong also refers to like the first person pronoun of I. So like I is ako, or you can also shorten it to ko. That's just how it works. If I was in Philippines trying to tell someone I don't speak Filipino, it would be di maayo kong Bisaya. And I've used this like a number of times. When me and my mom were on that cruise somewhere off the coast, off the Mediterranean. One of the servers, the waiters, he was Filipino, and he was like, this girl is like, are you really, like jokingly, right? Like, are you really Filipino? Because you don't speak Filipino. And I was just like, oh, Filipino ko, pero di maayo kong Bisaya. And that's literally all you have to say, and they'll be like, oh wow. But yeah, that's what it is. That's one that I know off the top of my head. Sorry, do not save that. So now what you can do is you can take Google Translate, and you can put your language into, or any language you want, into like a Filipino or specifically the Cebuano translator. So now you can tell someone from a different thing, like, oh, my thing is not good. Yeah, of course. I'm happy to teach it, because I really should be learning it. I've been slacking on that, needless to say. But I do enjoy it a lot. I really like the Filipino accent. It's very how do I describe it? It's very clicky and bouncy. I don't know how else to describe it, but it's a very I love the double vowels, right? Like in maayo or gabi, mogoon. We have the double O's too, but again, you just repeat the vowel, so it's like gaboon fried rice. It's gaboon. You're gonna say it twice. What I think is interesting about Bisaya in Filipino is just like, I love, like, again, I love the double vowels a lot. I think they're really fun to say. But here's a really funny one that I think a lot of people would have trouble with. I had trouble with it when I first attempted learning a long time ago, like when I was a kid. There's like a letter combination, ng, right? And it's the same as like English, like ng at the end of like ring makes ring, but now I isolate that ng sound, and that's what you have. That a lot of words will do that, and it's like one of the only ones I can think of off the top of my head is the word ngano. It's like, it's not nano, it's ngano. So like I'm really pressing like my tongue to the roof of my mouth saying that one. Like, ngano manat. And my Alexa is saying words at me and I don't know why. I think my package got delivered. I think that's really what Butters was barking at. But that one's a tough one when you're not used to saying it. But there's an even crazier letter combination because of course there is. It's MG, which I right off the bat feels like it just doesn't feel like it should work, but it does. I can't think of any direct word that uses that. Except for this one, which is mga. It's basically the same thing. I think it's like maybe it was like an M, NG, A kind of situation back then, but maybe it got shortened. Point being though, mga, is a thing, and I feel like that's like one of the only things where I like would have looked at it and be like, how on God's earth do you pronounce that? But you know, it's really not that bad. I'd say it's easier than the NG sound, if anything, because NG by itself is just like you don't have any like lead into it. You just kind of like go for it, especially if it's at the beginning of a word. See, we're making good progress, I think. Did I make their pants the same color? I feel like I might have. I love Pokemon Black and White. I feel like I liked the first ones more than like Pokemon Black 2 and White 2. But I think I should replay both of them just to like see. Because, I don't know, I just remember not enjoying, like, Black and White 2 nearly as much. But I think it must have... I think a lot of people really like the sequels over the original Black and White. I'm so curious to, like, know specifically why. I don't know if it's just that there was more in-game content. I don't know if it was, the story, because overall, the story of Black and White 2 is completely, like it as a fact, it's incomplete without Black and White 1. So I'm not sure. let's see, we got about an hour and 30 minutes left of stream. I don't think we'll finish it, but I think we'll get like super close at the end of the day, right? And from there, it's like not too big of a hassle to finish, which is good. So the pants are pretty dark, so I'm not gonna go super detailed on the shadow rendering here. Oops, it's getting choppy again. I'm so lazy when it comes to the legs. It happens to like all of my characters where I'm just like, okay, let's just plop all of the paint down. I'm too lazy to like make it like super like fancy or anything like the top. Just because it's like, legs are just cylinders, you know? Like, I don't think it requires like too much work. And again, they're at the bottom. They're further away from my usual light sources, which are almost always top down. So it's like, I don't generally see the point, but I know for the latest one with Astarion and Aerie, I had to be a little bit more, like, mindful, just because the campfire is, like, illuminating the bottom. That's actually, like, one of my favorite styles of lighting, when you just make, like, a little, like, light sandwich. That's a hilarious way to put it. I first did one like that, way back in, I want to say 2023. It was like, it was a little Dungeons and Dragons AU for Apex. I love the Maraith ship just because I think it's a really, like, silly ship. And, I drew a little D&D AU, them dancing. I've been wanting to redraw it. I sort of soft redrew when I did that Phasmid Jasper art. So that's kind of why I still haven't, like, touched it yet. But I still really like, how that one looks at the end of the day. I think the lighting I did there is maybe one of, like, my best works, like, just ever. Which is crazy to me. It's not often where I say something from, like, 2 years ago is still one of my best things that I've ever created. It takes a very, like, special piece to do that, in my opinion. My best piece of 2024, I'm trying to think, because I drew a lot in 2024. Oh, you know, actually, I think that piece I was talking about is 2022, so it's even older than I remembered then. I want to think, because I feel like I feel like it's an important question to ask myself, because I feel like I simply didn't ask myself this at any time. And let me think. Obviously, there's the birthday poster. That's definitely up there with one of my favorites I made last year. The Over the Garden Wall one with, like, the very autumnal background. That one, I think, is also, like, super good. I think that's just a huge milestone in, like, painting for me. So that one's, like, fairly important. Oh, shoot, I still gotta render the guitar. Lamau. I forgot. Sometimes I just be forgetting to render, like, entire pieces of parts of a drawing, and I'm just like, what's wrong with me? You know, sometimes I don't even, like, put the paint down to, like, render something. I put the paint down to give it a texture. Like, sometimes it's just not really, like, for the sake of putting a shadow. Sometimes it's really just for the sake of, like, giving it, like, texture from the rest of the drawing. There's only, like, a few things. There's really only, like, a few things that I think in a whole drawing that doesn't get rendered, and that's usually eyebrows, the inside of the mouth. Maybe if the mouth was, like, open, like, a lot wider, I would render the inside, but, like, generally, no. So we do that. I think I'm gonna leave this top, like that, and then very lightly go over there, but I'm going to make these a lot darker.
to give it like a better sense of depth, something like that. This guitar was hilarious to draw, because the reference I got sent did have all of these like jagged edges and everything, and I'm like, that is a crazy shape. I'm gonna be sobbing over this. Not in a bad way, but in like a very like, oh boy kind of boy. I do love doing stuff like this. The approach that I took with the guitar here was, well, this is a 3D shape. It should have some 3D elements. So, while it didn't have, the original sketch didn't have the stuff like these lines kind of going back towards into the thing, or the reference I got sent. I figured it makes sense to have them because, you know, I don't think guitars are usually, like, that flat, you know. We own guitars, I should know. You don't understand how upset I was, like, drawing this hand. Like, I vaguely play guitar. Like, I know how to put my fingers on the fretboard. Why is this so hard? So that was, like, kind of funny. That was a little bit of a struggle. Then we're just gonna paint the rest of that. Painting is always just, like, interesting. It's just like, what am I doing? Johnny's, like, super excited to go back to school because he's realized, wait, school is just arts and crafts now! Because he's an art major, right? And it's like, you are literally living the dream. See, I would go back to school for art. Because Johnny did, like, suggest that at one point. Or, like, my parents suggested, like, why don't you go back to school for art? Kind of thing. And I'm like, I would, but I would only want to take the art classes, right? Because I have no idea if my college units would, like, transfer over. Because I've technically, like, I've done, like, higher level math already. I've done, like, all kinds of things. I've done English. I got all my requirements for, like, a general education already. It's like, I should technically be able to skip them without too much of a concern. But I feel like it will be a concern, because... Not that college is a scam. I will never say that, even though I'm literally living the college is a scam life. I won't say it because college is supposed to be, like, very helpful. It's just as it is right now. It's kind of stupid with, like, student debt and everything. But the big thing about it for me is just, like... I just know the universities or any, like, campus is just gonna be trying, like, yeah, you, like, despite the fact you have a bachelor's already, you're gonna need to take these, like, general education requirements for this art major, even though, like, it should be easy, you should be fine, like, paying for this. I'm like, no, I'm not fine paying for this, like, just let me do an art class, and do the art classes and the art classes only. Like, I think that's a big thing stopping me. Because I don't mind. I think it'd be cool to get, like, an associate's in art or something. It's just, I don't want to sit there and be like, I have to retake math again, I have to retake English again, I have to retake science again. Like, I don't want to do that. I don't know, maybe I'll ask. Then again, I'm not even sure if I even have the means to pay for college at the moment. Like, I make enough at work. But, like, is it enough for, like, tuition and stuff? I don't know. Oops. Do you see? I turned off the background and there's, like, so much, like, spillover. Yeah, it's time to clean up on everything. I'll clean up, actually, when I merge all the layers together. That'll be a lot faster than having to guess which things belong to what. Oh no, I just erased all of- oh my god, I'm stupid. This is why we check what layers we're on. Okay. And then let me just finish up doing what I want to do to these, which is just make these spots just a bit darker if I can. I'll maybe even, like, move the color slider down, actually. Yeah, I think I want to do that. Just, you know, extra depth. I'll have some extra depth on my depth, please. I actually have terrible depth perception half the time. Like, I will literally just be, like, running into things, or I'll miscalculate. And it got especially bad this one time at work. It was one of those days where my left contact did not want to work. So I wore an eye patch that day because I was like, well, I can see out of my right eye, so I'm just gonna skip the hassle of keeping my left eye closed and just put something over it, right? And, the thing with that is you don't realize how important it is to have binocular vision until you don't have binocular vision. I had so many instances that day where I was missing putting food into the bags because I just only had an eye that day. It was really funny, but, like, would not do- well, no, I would do it again. Because the thing about, like, my contact just not working is, like, I want to wear it because contacts are expensive, and, you know, I should wear it because, like, I don't want to, like, get a new one because I don't want to, like, make the... I have it on a bi-weekly change date, so I don't want to, like, have my contacts be unsynced by any means, so I usually just stick with it. And I think if I had a contact that was, like, doing that again, I would still, like, put an eye patch over it just because it's... Again, I don't want to open a new thing of contacts before I need to change them out. And I can just wear my glasses anyways and just wait for all of that to work out. Then the last thing we need to do is get this little silver hair strand here. We're just gonna have that on a clipping later so we don't have to worry about any spillover. It's a bit dark. I've been watching, like, the paint mixing videos on YouTube. I don't know how people do it. I know I was, like, decently okay with it when I did paint before. Because I used to paint with acrylics. I really liked acrylics when I was a little bit younger. But I would paint on the really tiny canvases because I just wasn't comfortable. I wasn't comfortable on the big ones. I'm a very, like, I draw in, like, small spaces kind of person for some reason. And one time I painted, like, a giant bird destroying a city with laser eyes. I'm not sure what the thought process was there, but it is up there on my wall. So that happened. Alright, so we have all of that. Now let me save before something silly happens. What we're gonna do is... we're gonna put a spotlight real quick over both of them, so... I'm gonna take the colors that I was referencing here. We're gonna set this layer to add. So I have a cheat code for doing spotlights because, yes, I could paint them in, but painting them in high key kind of sucks, so... What you do is you put it down, you take your transform tool and get something where you can distort it a little bit, and you just... oh shit. You just, like, move it around. But yeah, I think I do want this one coming in from over here. We'll just move it. We'll shape it until it's, like, something that we like, basically. Something like that. You can, like, even move this, like, back down. And this is, like, the fastest way to do it. This is tried and true method. It does not fail. But at the same time, that's not how I wanted it to be shaped. Hang on. Because I haven't really done this in a while. Do I want it coming from the top? Or no, I do want it coming from the side. Or something more like this. If I could just stop rotating it for a moment. Oh, hello! Welcome! Dropsy, I did see your follow. I'm sorry I was offline for that. But yeah, thank you for the follow. Lovely to see you here. Curious to know if you found me from Twitter or if you just found me off of like Twitch. I don't actually know how any of this growth stuff works. There we go. Something more like that, I think. Oh yeah, we're mutuals from Twitter. I was curious. Ah, okay. Okay. I'm sorry if I don't recognize your name. I would hope to recognize a lot of my usual audience, but as it turns out, I'm terrible with names. It is true. It took me 15 years to finally memorize the names of my aunts and uncles whenever we go to parties. So if I ever seem stupid, that's why. Actually, move this up. There we go. I want something like that, and then we're gonna do the same thing, but I'm gonna do it on a different layer so I can actually like mess with it a little bit better, because we don't want it to like we don't want it to, I can't remember the word. We don't want it to transform on the other one too. We have to do this one on a separate layer. Yeah, quick and easy spotlight. I used to try and paint these in before. That was a mistake. I think more specifically I would paint in like sun rays, I think. And I would like use the blur and the smudge and the soft eraser to do it, but it's so much easier to just use the gradient tool and like transform it. And if you don't have a gradient tool, there's a way to do like gradients. Again, this is why like Medibang, it has this, and I can use this, and I don't have to think so hard. I do like Procreate a lot, though. I should go back to doing like more of my full drawings on there, but I just like I like what Medibang has to offer way more. I'm gonna do that, and then I'll keep the spotlights on separate layers for now, actually. Because I think what I want to do, I need to add a filter now over the everything. So this is gonna be fun. I'm gonna turn off all of the fancy effects going on right now. And what color should the filter be? That's the fun part. See, what if I was smart, I would have had the filter be like one of their colors and then have the highlights be the different color, but I'm not smart. I think a pink, actually. Pink would be a little bit close to purple, but I think it would work out here. We'll make it closer to red, and we'll do it like that. I think this makes sense. Two, three, four. Nope, that was part of it. I think that's everything. I just ran my my pen over my headset, and it was right in my ear. That was not pleasant. I'll turn this back on. This pink should be a good middle ground between the two. And then if I just... No, if we bring that far down, then there's no point. Multiply? Yeah, good old multiply layer. We'll have like a pink mist. You gotta love the color pink for being useful sometimes. fairly useful, actually. Okay. And now we can do our add layers, our highlights and everything. Once again, I gotta steal the color from this guy here. And grab that real quick. It's so funny, being me and unable to remember names all that well. It was just so tragic though, because my aunts and uncles would be like, "You don't remember me? We saw you like last week," and I'm like, "No, I don't remember your name," and I still kind of don't remember a lot of their names, to be honest. Like, let me, my favorite thing, is like, I'll go to like, my dad will be talking about, like, "Oh, you know, Auntie so-and-so," and I'll be like, kind of. And I was like, I kind of have an image in my head now, but it's still, like, really, really, like, not super clear. It's kind of sad. Yeah, this is gonna be in some desperate need of rim highlights because okay, no, well, that should technically be working. Then let me get the hair in here. Yeah, this should be fine. This should be fine. I don't need to make it any lighter, I think. And we'll put like whites at the edges just so it like pops a little bit more. The theater action film movie thing in Black and White 2 was probably one of the coolest features, but it confused me to no end when I was younger. Again, probably because I'm stupid. Because the way that it works is that they're Pokemon battles, but like they're Pokemon battles that have to be done in a very like specific way, right? Because it's technically a script, and I just never knew how to properly do them. But the cool thing was that Pokemon Black and White 2 was literally the only game to let you date someone, which I think is so funny. That game was so... like, I look back on the wiki and it's like, man, there was just so much romantic tension going on between, do I seriously have to be tabbed into this thing? It's okay. Yeah, the romantic tension in Pokestar Studios was hilarious. I thought it was cute. And the program is doing the thing again. I used to think that maybe it was like a graphics card thing, because it would happen a lot on my computer, on my laptop, and that's usually where I would draw, right? But, you know, since I'm streaming, I kind of have to be on my desktop. So I thought, oh, maybe that was, like, that's all it is. It's like a difference in graphics cards. I have a fairly strong graphics card on my desktop, and, it's sort of better, but it still runs into the same issue eventually, where it's like, yeah, we're gonna need you to tone it down on the rendering, and I'm just like, guys... It's fine though. Like I said, there's ways around it. Just I'm not a big fan of having to like use all the loopholes. Oh, hi Jimmy. Well, there he is. He's walking on the floor there. He's so sleepy. He's such an old little man, but we call him a baby anyways, because he is a baby. He's so cute. Jimmy! Wonder if he's warm. Johnny brought Butters up to my room last night, and it was so funny. Because he's like... sometimes I'm a little scared to bring him upstairs, because one, he's not allowed, two, he might pee. Because Because I don't think he understands that upstairs is part of the house, is the thing. And, it was just so cute, like, watching him sniff around last night and being, like, super excited, like, oh boy, so this is where everyone hangs out when they go upstairs. And I'm like, yeah, Butters, yeah, we all hang out up here. Jimmy. Oh, he's so cute down there. Hang on, I gotta pet him. Hi, Jimmy. Hi, Jibby dog. Oh, Jibby. Oh, Jibby Bubby. He's very sleepy. I'd put him on my lap today and show you guys, but I don't want to bother him. At some point, maybe it would be worth it for me to get like a doggy cam, but I don't. They don't usually like come up here that often for stream. I have him up here today because one, he came to my door. Two, Johnny is at school. Clive's asleep, and I have no idea where my dad is. So So, you know, I don't want him to be by himself. Speaking of, though, I came upstairs to get a blanket earlier, and on my way upstairs, I see Butters is kind of like put Jimmy into a little bit of a corner, and his arm, so they're both standing, but Butters' is a border collie, by the way. His arm is just like around Jimmy, like kind of hugging him, and I'm like, what are you doing, Butters? And he's like, I don't know. I'm hugging Jimmy. And Jimmy is like, get me out of here. It's really funny to see, like, to have, like, a really young dog. Butters is, like, 3. And then we have Jimmy, who's, like, 13. Jimmy used to be, like, so upset at Butters, but, like, they get along better now. Butters knows to leave Jimmy alone for like for the most part, which is really nice. And then Jimmy also just kind of like he's a very like chill dog, so it's not like he's gonna be going around bothering Butters really. The only thing is that if Jimmy gets a little bit too close to Butters' food, Butter does have food aggression, so I always have to like be careful of that. It is funny though. You can pretend to eat Butter's food, like you can just sort of like pretend to chew a little bit, and he gets so mad because he thinks you're eating his food. So this is what I had in mind for highlights when I was talking earlier about like having it be a little reversed. I think this will be like a really like cool-ish effect. And then I still gotta paint the magic effect in here too, but we'll worry about that when we get there. That's a problem for future me. Wrong brush. Oh, hello! Welcome, Big Cheese. Hello. It looks like you made it after all. Like, and it's all right if you can't stay long too. I understand people are busy. I just do this for fun. But yeah, we're just trying to get this finished up. We got an hour of stream left. Maybe I can finish this. I think I can finish highlights for sure. Oops, it's my navigator. I think I can finish highlights, but I'm a little doubtful of my ability to like fully finish the thing, because I think with just how dark the piece looks right now, it's gonna need like some whites in there. So I think I'm gonna be doing that whenever I finish up the highlights. Yes. But yeah, I'm liking how this is looking so far. I was a little worried that I wouldn't be able to come up with like an interesting background, but I think the interesting lighting should more than make up for it at the very least. I haven't been able to do like wacky lighting like this in a long time, so I'm like really happy to be doing this. 'Cause I like doing like weird funky lighting a lot. I think it's like really fun to use like all kinds of like different colors and everything. Um, the only issue is that a lot of art tends to like not call for that, and I'm just like, one day, one day, one day, one day. So the little girl at the store, when I was drawing like the snow leopard tabaxi, she was asking me like, why is that cat like a person? Something like that, right? And I tell her, oh, it's because in this world there are like some creatures that are like that. And I ask her, have you ever seen Kung Fu Panda? It's kind of like that. And she's like, no. And I'm like, oh, you should tell your dad to let you watch Kung Fu Panda because you would love Kung Fu Panda. And I tell my coworker that, and he tells her, "We've seen Kung Fu Panda before. I took you to see Kung Fu Panda 4 in theaters." And she's like, "I don't remember." Classic 4-year-old brain right there. I think I also be forgetting a lot of stuff when I was 4. One of my most vivid memories of the time when I was like a toddler, when I was in preschool, we would have snack time instead of lunchtime, because, you know, and, the big thing with that was that they would, like, have us, like, try different foods, and I got really excited once to, like, really try pickles. Now, I don't think that's necessarily that I've never had pickles before, it's just I'd never had pickles by themselves before, and this had, like, shaped my pickle experience for, like, upwards of 20 years. Not 20 years exactly, because, you know, just maybe 16 years. I think that's a better estimate. They gave us, just straight up pickles for snack time. And I know some people like it, but I'm not sure what compels someone to think that children of the age of, like, 3 to 4 would like pickles, because they're really sour. And not in like a fun like fruit kind of way, in like a very like fermented kind of way. And you know, that's kind of how like they're actually done. Fermented is probably the wrong word, but it's the only word I can really think of right now. And I was so disgusted. I didn't finish my pickles, and I was so like upset, and I was like, I never want to have pickles again. So whenever I ordered like burgers, it was like, can you make sure there's no pickles in it, yada yada yada. At some point, I think, at some point my dad, like, bought me a burger, forgot to ask, and I was too lazy to take out the pickles, and I was like, you know what, this is fine. This is fine, I take it back. Sorry, pickles. Sorry for the 16-year slander. But yeah. Another food that I remember very, like, vividly trying when I was, like, really young is, green apples. Because while I didn't like pickles, I did really like green apples because they were sour. I thought it was I thought it was like very ticklish, like green apples. I thought they were very tickly, and I really liked how it felt in my mouth. But I haven't had like a super sour apple like that. And I love sour candy to the sour fruit and sour candy to this day. Like, even if I have, like, mangoes and stuff, I want them to be, like, a little bit on the less ripe side. Because no, why did that happen? I like them on the less ripe side because I do like that kind of food more. That being said, is there any citrus fruits off the table for me? That's gonna have to be... that would have to be grapefruit, unfortunately. I think that one actually boils down to a little bit of genetics, because there are some people who taste grapefruit as sweet, and then there's me, who tastes it as, like, weirdly soap-like. Like, to me, grapefruit kind of tastes like soap. Do I still kind of enjoy it? Kind of. Only kind of, though. But yeah, I know my dad doesn't like sour fruits all that much, but I do. But both me and him love fruity drinks is the one thing that I think is really funny. Let's see. I'm gonna color this. Actually, tone that back down a little bit. I'm still laughing at the 69 followers on Twitch. That's so funny. Let's see. Clive's birthday is coming up. It's gonna be March 12th. And, I'm trying to figure out what I should get him. I know it's obviously gonna be, like, something car related, but, like, I don't entirely know. I might just ask him. Probably a lot smarter to do that than have me, like, fumble around and be like, Clive, do you like this car? Something like this, and then... So I put a request off for that day. That day is also going to be a Wednesday, so stream will probably still happen the day before. And I think from there it's just like, I hope Johnny gets off of school, like, early enough that day so we can all, like, enjoy. And hopefully my mom also remembered to get a day off for that. We'll see. Not that she forgets us, but sometimes she just be forgetting. Or sometimes she just can't. One time, though, there was an actual time where she forgot me. Yes, save it. Yeah, I should save the painting. One time, so I couldn't really, like, drive in college because, what's it called? I just didn't have my license and I was a little scared to learn. And also something insurance. I think it was just like, I'm just gonna focus on school kind of thing, right? So I'm waiting. So the thing about Cal Poly and things that was really nice about, like, being dropped off there was the fact that my mom's hospital was really close by. It was just like a quick go on the highway, and it's like at 5 minutes on the highway, and you'd end up at my campus from the hospital. And what ended up happening was, it's after class, it's like first few days of the semester, and I'm sitting there at the usual spot where we get dropped off and picked up, and I'm waiting for, like, a long time. Until finally I decide to call my dad. Be like, hey, Dad? Where's Mom? And he's like, she didn't pick you up? I'm like, no, I've been sitting here for, like, an hour. I really like how you did the lighting. I need to learn more about lighting and stuff. Oh, yeah. I think one day I'll do, like a art lesson stream. You'll be learning from a self-taught person, so that's gonna be only the most hilarious experience, and it's gonna be just an incoherent mess. Maybe I should just make it like a YouTube essay or something, I don't know. Something more scripted, because if I tried to explain my process, I think all of us are a little aware that I'm not a great speaker half the time, and a decent one the other half of the time. But anyways, I'm there for like an hour already, and I called my dad, and I'm like, Dad, where's Mom? He's confused, like, what do you mean, where's Mom? She didn't come to get you? I'm like, no, I've been sitting here for an hour. And he's like, oh, shoot. Okay, hang on. And we hang up, and he calls my mom. She's already, like, almost at the house, and mind you, it's like a 40-minute drive away from, like, my campus to the house. So she's almost there, and he gets a call from my dad, and he's like, did you forget Kyra? And she's like, oh my god. So she had to, like, drive back. And I'm just there like, man. Realistically, I should have just asked, like, my boyfriend at the time, like, hey, could you, like, drop me off at home? I think my mom forgot me, but I was like, I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure if my mom was just, like, running errands or something. But yeah. To make things even funnier, another boyfriend I had, at the time that we were gonna go to Spain, we weren't dating yet. We weren't dating yet, actually. We invited him, me and my mom, to come to Barcelona with us. And he was like, "Oh yeah, sure. I can arrange that. I just gotta ask my parents." His parents told him that he can't go with us because they were worried that my mom was gonna forget him in Barcelona. And I'm just like, okay, it happened one time. But it was funny though. Actually, no, I still need to use all of this. I love the Gen 5 music so much. It's so like, I don't know how to describe it, because if Gen 4 is jazz, this one's like, it's not rock, but it's like a very like synth pop kind of vibe. Like feels a little bit like dubstep, I guess. That's a decent way to put it. I guess to give like a quick tip on lighting, a lot of it's gonna depend on your scenery is the big thing. Here I wanted to go for like a very like stage vibe, right? But of course I don't want to just use like very like neutral, natural, like stage light stuff. Black and white is one of my faves. I think it's the best, one of the best generations of Pokemon out there. But a lot of it's gonna come down to the scenery that you're trying to like paint or show. So, and sometimes the scenery, it's gonna boil down to like a couple of things. This one's a little bit more of an abstract one. Like I want it to definitely give off stage vibes. Like, it's so hard to learn. You're telling me. It's one of my strongest points, but it took me so long to get to where I am now is the problem. But because I didn't actually like have a stage sketch in mind, and because stages are generally like pretty like normal point of view, it was just kind of hard to like come up with something that was a little bit more interesting. So I thought incorporating like the characters' colors would be really good, because storytelling through color is a very powerful tool, whether you actually have a story or not. Here, we have characters. The characters are siblings, and one dresses in purple and one dresses in green. And I think, even though I don't know a lot about the characters, I think it's a good thing that you can like lean into. Like, oh well, I'm gonna hinge a lot on like this one aspect, this one detail, and that's what I'm gonna use as my that's what I'm gonna use as my crutch for the rest of this piece, because even though I don't know a lot about them, I can still create something visually like interesting and something that connects them together. I don't know what I'm talking about, but I swear it's good advice. And of course purple and green are very like, I'm thankful it was these, because purple and green are very like agreeable colors, right? If you've seen a color wheel, you know what I'm talking about with like opposite colors and stuff. Purple and green are really good complementary colors. Oh shoot, hang on, my lip skin is... There we go. Purple and green are very like good complementary colors. Yeah, it's a really good color combination. So it helps out a lot. And of course, what I can do here is, if there's two light sources, right, working with each other, I can just have one side of a character be shaded one way and the other side of the character be shaded the other way. And it works out, I think, decently well. Oh my god, Nimbasa City Runway. That was a wonderful part of the entire game. But the point being is that there's a lot of ways to make lighting work. It's just kind of finicky sometimes. A big part of it too is learning how to use color filters. obviously when you're doing this traditionally, that's a huge different process. I saw a short once about unified palettes, and basically it's taking your original paint palette and then taking one color and mixing every color in that palette together, and that's your unified that's how you unify your palette together. And it really is kind of like putting a filter over things. So here in this case, we're using pink, this layer, as a filter. Because if I take it off, for one, the characters, it's not that they don't fit in, but I think this just helps it tie it together to give that very, like it's a show, it's a concert, they're on stage. I think it helps sell that. The pink was just chosen because, the big thing is that you have to find a way to balance out the contrasting colors with each other. It's part of actually it's, oh shoot, hang on, I'm on the wrong layer. There we go. The big thing about it is, like, really all it is, a lot of lighting here especially is gonna rely on color theory. And I know color theory, I really do, because you can tell because I'm doing it right now. But because I don't know what I'm talking about explicitly, I can't describe what I'm doing, which is the frustrating part about this. This is also why I've held off on like an art tutorial stream, because I don't know what I'm doing. But I can say this, I can say some of my favorite color combinations and why I think they work really well. I love red and purple. I think it's just because they're really close, right? Like, you can literally, like, use purple as a shadow for red is the thing. And, because they're super close, they look really nice together. This is so relatable. Yeah, welcome to the self-taught artist experience. My name is Cairo. Today we're gonna be talking about, we're not gonna be talking, really. We're just gonna be fumbling about how color theory works. We're gonna turn color theory into an actual theory and, like, make up, fanfic about why it works and why it doesn't work. That's basically what it is. I think red and purple generally work pretty well. Because, again, they're really close. Like, technically purple is just one color away from being red. Because it's got some blue in there. Because, yeah, it's got some blue in there. But because they're so close together already, sometimes it's hard to find, like, a color to, like, balance them out, together. So, I know anytime I've, like, drawn Airy and Lilac together, sometimes choosing, like, a very, like, abstract background color is difficult because I don't know what color is in between them that would work together. Blue, I think, would just kind of, like, ruin the whole thing, personally. I usually do brown, because brown's just a very nice, like, neutral, tone a lot of the times. And I think it looks nice. I think it works out pretty well. What's another good color combination? Green, white, and gold. That, I think, is an S-tier color combination. I think that looks beautiful. Especially if it's like a... I swear Billy Bronco is not holding a gun to the back of my neck, to my back, I swear. But, like a dark green with, like, maybe like a sort of off-white, and then, like, a really nice, vibrant golden yellow. That would look nice. That would look super nice. But I also just like green and white by itself. Like, let's say you had, like, a sort of, like, mossy tea, kind of minty green with white. That looks beautiful. That I think is a really, like, pleasant and just soothing color combination. Let's see. What about red? Red is always kind of a tough one for me because I never actually know how to pair red very well with colors. Because the thing with red is that red is such a strong color that every time you pair it with a different color, there's automatically an association to it. If you put red and blue together, it's gonna invoke images of like either like superheroes or patriotic. Like it's a very, very bold combination. My friend wanted me to teach him how to draw, but the problem is my mind is 90% off, and it's mostly my hands doing the drawing, so I wouldn't be able to explain to him what I'm doing. That's such a... Oh, that's so funny. That's like the biggest mood of the century. It's like, well, I kind of turned off my brain, and when I woke up, I had this in front of me, so... might I suggest a little bit of melatonin for some fever-induced art I'm kidding. I say melatonin because at least that one's not a harmful drug, but speaking of, Johnny's figure drawing professor, actually, let's reverse that. Johnny's figure drawing professor is not insane, but I'm gonna use the word insane because I can't think of anything else. She's very eccentric, right? And like, you know, like the stereotypical like portrayal of artists in media where we're so like I'm gonna do this thing so I can find inspiration for this thing, and the thing that they're doing is like hanging upside down on a tree while playing, I don't know, a harmonica or something wacky and goofy like that, right? This lady was like the actual personification of that. Because according to Johnny, one time she was like, she did a painting and she was like, I was like on a beach and I saw a cloud, and then the cloud turned into a squirrel, and then the cloud turned pink, and I'm like, Johnny, I mean this in no offense to your professor in any way, shape, or form, but are you sure she wasn't doing LSD or mushrooms? Like, that's what it sounded like to me. I understand people have, like, not religious oh my god, 8 viewers. Why is me talking about drugs getting more people into the stream? Welcome, everyone! But it's like, I'm sorry, but does that not just sound like an acid trip on the beach while painting? It's just, it's not crazy that people, like, exist like that. It's crazy to me, like, this would actually be, like, I want to step into this person's mind and just be like, what is your thing? What is your creative process? Like, what are you seeing here in your imagination? Because if you aren't high and you're just doing this naturally, that's insane. But she is also, like, the same teacher that, like, told her class, like, okay, guys, we're gonna be drawing for, like, 6 straight hours. No music, no YouTube videos, no distractions. You guys are just gonna be, like, doing the whole figure drawing thing. And I'm just like, okay, well, Johnny, she didn't say no drugs. You know what that means? We got a pregame before art class or something. We were joking about that. But it's like, man, just imagine, like, imagine, like, having that kind of brain where, like, the things like, the things that come to you are just so vivid and surreal. It's like, that sounds so fun. Like, I would love to just, like, just to get a glimpse of, like, what goes on in that head. Because, again, if she did that sober, that's kind of insane. But yeah, and again, doesn't that sound like the Hollywood portrayal of, like, the eccentric artist? Like the textbook definition, like, yeah, this is, like, this is what artists do, because we're so passionate and so creative, and, like, I don't think that's what we do, but okay. Say what you want. I won't question the multi-billion-dollar industry. Where was I going with all of that? I don't remember. Point being, art silly. Art professor is silly. I would love I think I still would love to teach like things on stream. I think I have like a decent amount of knowledge that I can maybe put into a coherent sentence. I'm just gonna have to have like an outline like on the side here, like, okay, here's what we're gonna do today. I think I'm good at lighting, you know? A lot of it is just, I don't know actual light physics is kind of a problem, but, a lot of what I do just kind of relies on, like, well, where is the light in the first place? But here I'm, like, very, like, loose and stylized with it, and I'm just, like, making sure, to keep things, like, visually interesting. Maybe they don't have to be correct. Because that's the thing, right? And hilariously enough with art, as long as you're correct enough, you don't have to worry about, like, accuracy and everything. Which is the nice thing about it. You can just kind of, I severely, like, overestimated where I would be by the time 2 o'clock reached. But it's like this. They're, like, I know for a fact that a lot of what I'm doing right now with the light isn't super, like, on point or correct, right? Like, yeah, I'm putting, like, some stuff where I think it should go. But can I say for certain that, like, yeah, that's definitely where it should go? Not really. But it looks correct enough. Like, I don't think too many people are gonna question it. It's only, like really, like, tough critiques that I think, would say, like, no, you're kind of putting not everything, let me give myself some credit here, but you're kind of putting, like, a lot of things in the wrong place, and that's okay. Because even though, like, some of the things are probably in the wrong place, I think, overall, the composition is still super strong. And I think that's a really important thing to realize about art. It's not about getting it, like, 100% right, it's really just going for that A- at the end of the day. Because I think you'll just exhaust yourself, and if it's just not what your art is supposed to be, then it's not what your art is supposed to be. Again, I have a very, like, stylized kind of thing that I have here. It's supposed to look a very particular way. Green and purple was such a good choice for this, though. I'm glad I went the direction that I did. I think this will be really good. I'm a little sad we probably won't finish the highlights on stream. Unless I'm really fast, but I don't really want to rush it. Art takes a lot of time. There's a lot of it is kind of good to have your brain on for it, but I won't lie, I kind of just be forgetting sometimes. Like, right here, the spotlight hits the hand. And I'm gonna have the spotlight go over to the fingers. I'm not gonna have it extend all the way down at the end of the day. And I have, like, all of this, like, stronger light concentrated, like, where the spotlight actually is. Light diffusion, I think that's the right word. I don't know if that's the right word. This is what I get for being self-taught. This is what I get for not going to art school. This is what I get for not taking a single goddamned art class. But again, it still works out. And because the arm comes out this way, I'm not actually going to shade that with green. I'm going to continue with purple. And then just go, like, a bit big on this just because I'm getting to that point where it is going to get to the point where I literally, like, it's going to be, like, super choppy unless I make it super big and super zoomed out. And this is why pressure sensitivity is super helpful. This is also why acrylic brush is so much better than the airbrush. Like I said, I've stopped worrying about smooth gradients a long time ago. It's just, it is what it is. It's not worth, like, the smooth, glossy look. I love the rough, textured feel a lot more. Subsurface scattering. There we go. Somebody knows the answer and I don't. This is exactly why we don't. This is exactly why I try not to do, like, the whole art lesson thing because I don't know what I'm talking about. Well, I kind of know. It's just I don't know, like, the exact vocabulary for it. And that's okay. I still make good art. But yeah, I think this is turning out pretty good. I just, yeah, I think I will do an art tutorial stream. Maybe next week. Maybe next week. I think next week that would be a good day for that. Because Thursday is probably going to be Stardew unless Johnny doesn't feel up for that. In which case, then, yeah, I think I will do an art tutorial stream on Thursday, and we'll just have, like, a little Google Doc that I can share and be like, hey, if you want, like, some art secrets from me, for some reason, if you want some art secrets from me, I have an entire Google Doc where I spill all my art secrets. Something like that. I don't know what I'll cover first, though. It's definitely a thing. I don't know, what's the big thing that you guys would want to learn from me? Because on one hand, I don't feel like I do anything too special, but on the other hand, I feel like, well, no, we gotta give credit where credit is due, as always.
Yes, I'm still watching YouTube. Stop being silly like that.
Like, if I was to do an art tutorial stream, what would that topic be? Because lighting might be fun. But I'm a little nervous about that one. I don't... while I do a lot of, like, funky color lights a lot, I don't do a lot of, like, different types of lighting, if that makes sense. Like, it's most often, it's literally just top-down. And top-down isn't the most exciting thing in the world. And, you know, maybe we'll make it like a collaborative, like, Google Drive too. Like, hey, I have a thing. If you want to share some art tips with the community, feel free to, like, put some art tips here into this Google Drive. Like, we don't gatekeep here. I don't believe in gatekeeping art. I think that's stupid, and that's exactly how we get AI art, to be fair here. I understand, like, protecting things, but it's like, we can, like, teach others. I think it's, like, a good opportunity. And, like, you don't even have to, like, unveil any, like, ooh, here are my art secrets, here's, like, how I accomplish, like, A, B, and C. You could just be like, hey, if you want to, like, improve, like, this one thing, or you want to, like, draw like this, then here's how you do that, and here's how you do this, and... Because I think that makes sense. I understand, like, kind of wanting... I will say just learn while you're driving. That's the best way to do it. That is, unironically, like... Yeah, that's actually how you do it. But I think at the end of the day, too, is, sometimes you're gonna need to look things up, like, hey, Google, how do I draw this? And you're gonna come into, like, a bunch of different tutorials, and it's going to be like, okay, well, a lot of these feel, like, a little stylized, actually, and I don't know if that fits my style. I don't want it to clash. Because I think that's a huge thing, right? How do you draw something? Calling it a day. Thank you for the stream. Cozy as always. Oh, thank you so much. I hope you have a wonderful night, Kira. But the big thing for me about art is, about art tutorials online, is that a lot of them are incredibly stylized, which is not necessarily a problem. Like, it's good for the artists themselves to, like, call back on, like, oh, how do I do this one thing that I did that one time again? Really useful for that. But, when it comes to, like, other artists trying to learn, sometimes there are just some tutorials out there that I don't think are super good. Whether that's because they don't go, like, as in-depth as to why things are the way they are, or they don't even have, like, any elaboration to begin with. It's just slideshows of, like, here's what your next image will look like, here's what your next image will look like. I don't want to do that. I would actually love to compile just, like, Google Docs images and everything, just like, here's how I do this. And I'm gonna explicitly word it that way, like, here's how I do it. Because at the end of the day, I do still have a style, and I'm still going to, like, do things in that style. But it's like, this is the steps that I take. You maybe following some of these steps should be, like, helpful towards, like, your style and everything like that. Because I want to give, like, very, like, well-rounded tips on, like, oh, well, if you're... So, like, even if you're drawing, like, completely different from me, it still, like, works out. Something like... I think that'll be good to do. And again, I'll have it, like, a big shareable document so, like, others can, like, put, like, their things on there. Because, again, the more we gatekeep art, and I understand why it's done in some cases, because it's like, yeah, maybe I don't want people, like, stealing my art style. But personally, for me, I don't think it's possible to steal an art style. I think no matter how much, you, like, try to, like, study somebody's art style and really, like, get it down to a T, there's still always going to be things about, like, what you do that's going to be a little bit different. So I think, at the end of the day, every art style is going to end up being, like, unique, and there's no such thing as, like, really stealing an art style. I don't think you can learn much by tutorials. You can have some useful tips, but at the end of the day, you learn by studying. Oh, absolutely. Even still, like, tutorials are, like, super helpful. And I would hardly say, like, if I did that, it's going to, like, replace, like, actual, like, studying and stuff like that. I think I would just want my tutorials to be, like, really, like, good supplemental material. Because, you know. And again, I think the more we gatekeep art, that's how we get more things like AI art. Because, you know, I'm sure there's people who want to create who just don't know how to create, and that's fine. But sometimes there's just not a lot of, like, sources out there for, like, learning and stuff, and I think learning importance in anything is just really helpful. I'll just make that a little bit, like, I don't want to leave this, like, unshaded because it's, like, decently high up, but I am gonna, like, make sure the lighting isn't super strong on that. Alrighty. So that's one character with pretty much all the highlights down. We're gonna move on to this one now. I'm gonna hope that doing the opposite here works out in my favor. Oh, what's this? Oh boy. Guys, what layer is that on? Bro. It's on layer 1, that's crazy. There's so much resources. Online learning art has never been more accessible. I never spent a penny. I think I've progressed a bit. Yeah, that's true. But at the end of the day, it's just, even with all those resources on there, I think a lot of, I think the idea of, like, gatekeeping art is just a bit silly. And again, I think it's that entire reason why, like, oh, why won't you, like, share, like, how you did this? It's like, you're just kind of, like, robbing a lot of artists, like, a chance to learn, in my opinion. Okay, we're gonna go opposite this way, so I'll do the eye highlights later just because I'm trying to save the colors on this. I think it should work out. I just gotta, like, figure it out. I remember I used to get a lot of, like, my art tips on Instagram, but there was just some that I had, like, some problems with. The one that I always bring up is the how to draw straight hair one, because that one is genuinely like, no, we need to step back a moment. Because, like, as it is right now, my hair isn't fully straight. It does have, like, some instances where it likes to, like, curl down towards the ends, but because it's so long and heavy right now, it does kind of come off a little bit as, like, pin straight hair. Johnny has pin straight hair. We knew that from when he had long hair before. And, it's just kind of silly to say, like, oh, if you draw straight hair like this, there's still, like, no volume, no nothing, like, that's actually what straight hair is, like, really, really straight hair is, though.
Let's see. Oh my god, Champion Sinnoh is up next in the soundtrack. I can't wait to get the PTSD trip from that.
Anyone else, like, remember, their Cynthia battle in Gen 4? Because for me, I remember it, I remember it a bit differently. For some reason, my Empoleon back in Pokemon Platinum was, like, level 80-something. And I kind of swept her entire team with, like, Surf and Ice Beam, I think. So it wasn't too bad, actually. When I remember it. But when I played Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, which, you know, was, like, a direct, like, port from DS to Switch. Oh my god, that was... stopped at Gen 2. Oh my god, wow. That's kind of crazy. I don't even remember when Gen 2 came out. Yeah, I don't know. But Cynthia, when I fought her in Brilliant Diamond, because again, that's like a direct, it's like a direct port, like the same bugs and everything fit in. So the team balancing was the same for the most part. It was really scary, because it's like, oh, I have to set up so much. What I did for Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, I think I spammed Intimidate, and just kept switching between Empoleon and Staraptor until I got it to like -6 attack, and then that's when I felt comfortable like hitting it with the Ice Beam. But yeah, even then it was still kind of scary, because like a +6 Garchomp for some reason still hits pretty hard, and it's just like, what is this? Okay, let me get to the hair. The hair's gonna be fun on this because it's very like textured and very like there's a lot of parts to it. Let me do the thing that I usually do. I think if I do an art tutorial stream, I would like to do like an effects thing. Like, hey, here's how you can do like a ton of effects. I think that would be a good one. I know one that I'm particularly good at is water highlights. I have a lot of fun with those. I learned about that thing called layered shadows. I think it's called that way. But the other problem is that I don't really understand where to put shadows. I could tell you a little bit about that right now. A lot of times, eyelids... Not that the eyelids are, like, so heavy that they put, like, a really strong shadow on the eyes. But generally, you do put shadows at the top of the eyes to show, like, yeah, there is an eyelid there. And, even just beyond the eyelid, just maybe just, like, hair or other things. Obviously, you go, like, towards the bottom of the chin if it's top-down lighting. The big thing about shadows is just, like, okay, well, do you know where your source of light is? And I'm going to use top-down as an example, because top-down is the simplest one. Because top-down literally just implies, like, okay, well, if your light is on top, then all your highlights should be at the top, and then all your shadows are going to be at the bottom. And then from there, it's going to be understanding shape, which is the funny part. So the thing with shape is, I recommend looking at spheres and stuff, because spheres, or sketches of spheres, like very realistic sketches of spheres, because it's gonna be a lot easier to see like how the light interacts off of that than off of the real thing, because sometimes you can't tell until it's like very exaggerated on a piece of art, right? So you can do that, and you can kind of see like how the light travels. Like if we pretend this is a circle for a moment, because it kind of is. Like the light's coming down like that, like that, and you have the highlights over here. You have your true tone, like your true color in the middle, and you have your shadow, and then an additional highlight for just a little bit of a sense of depth. That's how that works. But I know you have like a very cartoony style, and I think in that case, in your case specifically, cell shading is going to look cell shading is going to look a lot more cohesive. And if you don't know what that is, I'm pretty sure cell shading is just like shading with solid colors as opposed to like a paintbrush. Cause I think cell shading tends to look better on like more cartoony things, just because so much of cartoony like art styles lie heavily like all of their detailing and everything comes in the form of their outlines. It's the same as my style for the most part. The reason why I paint though is because I my style, I try to make it like a combination of both, where sort of digital and traditional kind of meet, where cartoony and something a little bit more realistic kind of meet. But for very cartoony styles, if you take a solid color, a lot of cartoons are going to take a solid color and they'll use that. And from that point, you just kind of have to learn that you don't need to smooth it out super hard. Like, if you're interested in Big Cheese, there's a channel dedicated to light and shadow called Lighting Mentor, and it helped me out a lot. Yeah, I definitely check out like a bunch of YouTube channels like that. And again, I would also look at similar art styles to yours. Things that come to mind when I think about your art style, it's gonna be things like Adventure Time or Steven Universe and Amazing World of Gumball. I would look at how they do shadows on their characters, because again, it's very cartoony, and you're gonna notice with a lot of very cartoony art styles, they do like very solid shading. They don't do gradients like other art styles might. Some animes do it, but I think a lot of them still kind of use the airbrush a little bit, because they won't tend to include as much texture. There's nothing wrong with using the airbrush. If you really want to use the airbrush, there's nothing wrong with using the airbrush at all. But I think using the cell shading first might actually help you also understand the light and shadow a little bit more. Also, I just find airbrushes like really difficult to use. I think I think the pressure sensitivity on the pens for airbrushes tend to be like a little bit finicky. And I think realistically it's usually the same for like a lot of brushes, like the pressure sensitivity on a brush, but for airbrush in particular, because it's so smooth, it's it very much likes to be like very wonky. And I remember before when I was using airbrush, I never was able to like get it like the way that I want it to be. Like I want it to be like a very, very smooth transition from like the shadow to the actual true color. But it doesn't work. It never worked for me, and this is why you see me using the acrylic brush now. But I think you'll be able to find a way to make it work if you really, really want to. But otherwise, if you find yourself getting frustrated with the airbrush, I highly recommend... What is that emoji that I put instead of my text smile? If you're on mobile, I don't know if you can see it, but Twitch just has like these default like emojis that I don't necessarily know what they are of. It might be like a mascot or something. But it is just a Twitch thing. What do you call airbrush? I'm not sure what it's... Is it the default round smooth brush? Yeah, that's basically what it is. See, that's the other tough part about making the art tutorial thing. Every art program calls their tools something different, and I don't know what to make of it. But, yeah. Yeah, my art just didn't look good with the airbrush before, and because I was so obsessed with making the gradients super smooth, you can't see the shadows, like, at all. Which is, like, a huge thing. It's like a huge hindrance to a piece, in my opinion. Again, I can pull up my old art really and show you guys what I mean, but there's not a lot of time left on stream, so. But yeah, I don't like. I'm not a huge fan of airbrushing. I just don't think it looks good. There are absolutely people who do make it look good. It's just every time I've tried to use it, it boils down to a skill issue. And that's just the truth at the end of the day. I don't understand how to use the airbrush. It's okay though. I like Medibang's acrylic a lot more. Understanding pressure sensitivity though, like just learning how to like control that pen is gonna be huge for lighting too. Just because like, you know, if I press down really hard, it's gonna do that. If I press down really lightly, that's how I get like that wispiness. So you're gonna want to make sure you know how to control that. That's a huge thing. Airbrush is cool to some values and colors in the piece, but most people use it without combining with hard edges, so pieces tend to look weird. Yeah, I think that's what I did before when I was drawing, because I didn't understand. And now I do, and I'm curious to know if what my art would look like if I did try it with airbrush. But the thing is that like I said, I love Medibang's acrylic brush texture. Like, to me, there is no beating this. I don't care if it doesn't make sense on the surface that it's on. It's a good texture. I'm gonna use it. But my substitute for getting like a really smooth thing is this round watercolor brush. Nothing super special, but it's a really easy brush. It's an easier brush to blend, in my opinion. Maybe I will pull up my old art. Hang on. We'll talk about. We'll go on a little ramble for the end of stream. Scroll way down. I need to scroll really down, actually. Oh my god. Okay. Which one am I gonna use as an example? We're gonna use the mermaid one as per usual. I think this is the one that I always bring out, because this was the one that I was super proud of back then. But it's certainly aged. I think this is only like 1,000, so we're gonna go 1,500 by 1,500. There we go. Sorry for the quality. I can't get it any better, and the actual file's on my laptop, and I'm not opening that. But you can see that I was airbrushing the shadows in, and you can see them, like, right? Like, they're visible, but they're not super visible, and it just doesn't look that smooth. It just doesn't look that smooth. It's not super interesting. The shadows are there, but it's like the idea of a shadow is there. And to me, if you're only going to be doing like shading as soft as this, I don't think that there is necessarily a point to put the shadows there to begin with. Like, because again, I think if I removed them at the end of the day, you could still, you wouldn't notice anything fundamentally different about the piece. The lighting here, to me, everything about your piece has to work towards getting across one idea, and yeah, you could tell it's there, but again, it's like the idea of it is there, like the ghost of it is there. Contrast that with its redraw that happened, what was it, last year? Contrast that with its redraw. So this was way back in like 2019. So about 6 years have taken place between this image and the redraw. contrast it with this, which is insane. Like, you can tell the shadows are there, you can tell the highlights are there. Everything about this is, if I made the, I think the problem are with the values. I didn't use a strong shadow. If you look at the, yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Like, your shadows need to count. Like, you need to have, in my opinion, you need to have strong shadows. Otherwise, there's just no point in having the shadows in the first place. And if you don't have strong shadows, your highlights are also going to suffer. The shadows are probably the most important part of the drawing. So, like, contrast this piece from, like, 6 years ago with this piece. So there's, like, a 5-year gap, actually. Not 6-year. Between these two things. You can see the shadows, like, super well. You can tell where things are supposed to be super dark. You can tell where things are supposed to be super light. And of course, the added bonus with, like, the color filter over it helps really sell the idea that they're underwater. More movement with, like, the hair, making it look more natural. I always use a dark purple on a multiply layer for the shadows. Yeah, that's smart, actually. That's a really good that's a really good way to go about it. Some artists will say don't do that. Some artists will say do that. Really, it's what you think works for you. But yeah, the dark purple is a really, like, smart one to use, because purple already is a fairly dark color, and having it on a multiply layer just kind of, like, creates a nice little shortcut there. But again, like, have dark shadows so you can have better highlights. Like, there's the improvement between these two pieces is more than just general, like, boy do I hate, oh boy I hate using fancy layers. I don't know how you guys do it. It's so hard to control. Oh, see, here's the funny thing. If you go here, all of this is on normal blending mode. Like, maybe it's a little hard to see on stream, but I promise you, this is normal. The only time where I change the layer modes when it comes to rendering is with highlights, because I like making the highlights, like, really glowy, so they get an add layer. But going back to this, there is so much more improvement that happened here than just general, like, anatomy and better understanding of physics and everything. If we want to focus on, like, the lighting specifically, it is, the biggest improvement is just making sure that, like, there's a distinct difference between your shadow, your flat, and your highlight. I think if you go too light on those things, then again, it suffers. The overall piece suffers a lot. And then again, of course, there's a filter over this that helps sell the idea that they're underwater. Obviously, the bubbles painted in are a lot more like actual bubbles. The water looks like water. We have a ray of sun coming in. Cool water effects you got there. I should learn how to do that. The only layers I use are normal, multiply, and add, sometimes overlay, yeah. If I have a filter, I'll go as fancy as I want with the blending modes and that, because sometimes you just have to. Most of the time, it's gonna end up being, like, either between hard light and multiply. Those are my go-tos. For shadows, again, it's just, I just color pick. I'll take the flat, I'll just move it down. The way I like to do it is I like to saturate it and move it, like if the color was initially over here, the shadow's probably going to end up somewhere over here, and I might move this a little bit too. Just because I think if you saturate your shadows, it does help sell the idea that it's a lot darker. And then, for highlights, it's the add layer. Yeah, I think we're gonna call it there for stream. Went a little bit over, but that's okay. So let's see. Let's just close this and save this before I forget. Next stream is gonna be Thursday. That's probably gonna be a Stardew Expanded stream. We'll see how Johnny feels that day. And if not, that'll be the art tutorial day, and I'll probably do like an effects tutorial. Like, hey, here's how I like paint this, and everything. New art on the way, as always. I'm gonna make sure I finish this up today for sure, so I can post it tomorrow. And then, from there, just more sketches and more things to, like, work on, and we'll see how all of that goes.
once again, thank you guys so much for coming around. It means the world that you guys sit here and listen to me yap about the most insane things. I can't wait to do this again the next time. Love you all, and bye.